Have a great show lined up for you. I'm your host, Kim Jacobs, better known as the Balance Doctor. And all of our guests that come on, they're either people that have overcome some tremendous odds in their own lives as they balance this thing called life, or they're experts and they're here to share tips and strategies that will help you better balance and manage your life. Grab your virtual seats and let's get ready for some real relevant and relatable content on today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. Well, everybody, it is the Kim Jacobs Show, and guess what? We are bringing balance to the world, one household at a time. Woo! It is Freestyle Friday, y'all. We have not been on Freestyle Friday live for a while. How do y'all feel being here today?
It's wonderful to be here.
We free. We free and we styling.
And you know what? That's funny. No pun intended. Because when you say we're free, it's different connotations with.
Hey, last day of Black History Month. We free and we styling.
That's right. That's right. We're going to talk about a lot of things, you guys. So whatever, we don't have anything scripted and ready to go. A lot of what's happening here is freestyle. So what are some of the topics that matter most to you? We may know the answers. We may not have any clue what you're talking about and have to go and research it for a few minutes so we can have some conversation. But we are committed to talking about things that matter, things that's going to make a difference in your life on this Freestyle Friday. So as we get kicked off here, we do always make sure we have some thoughts just to make sure, in case you all don't always actively participate, we can go in some kind of direction. But let's see who's already joining in today's conversation. I see you all, CTR Media Network. I see you, Mom. I see you, Athena. I see all of you that's already tuning in. And Athena, share this broadcast with your friends, your family, your coworkers as well. Let's just talk already for a second. What about this whole thing that's happening today? Hey, Sharon D. Brown, I'm gonna pull you in. Hey there, how are you?
I'm well. How are y'all?
Morning, Sharon.
Doing good. I see you, Mackenzie, backstage too. Mr. H, see you. Listen, it's been a lot happening recently, and one of the things that recently was announced is that today, which if you're watching this, today is February 28th, that there's like an economic blackout type of thing. Anybody have any thoughts on that? Because I know people may want to chime in on what your thoughts are pertaining to it. Anybody?
Well, I'm curious how it's happening on your side of the border because it's inundated. I'm in Canada. So because of the proposed tariffs, you do not buy anything American today. That's what we've been instructed to do, is that because we have a lot of American companies here. We got Walmart, I think Target's closed. We've got Marshalls. We've got Dollar Tree. We've got a number of American bigger brands, and then like stores and retailers. And we've been instructed today we buy nothing American, only Canadian.
Wow. So see, being that this show is actually in 100 countries, everybody's very different with what they are being told and instructed to do. And so some people may not even know what we're talking about. I see my backstage, my assistant's like, what is an economic blackout? What is she talking about? You didn't get the memo on that one, baby. You're like, Lord have mercy, what y'all talking about?
Yeah, closer to George Floyd, it was my black only the last time I was participating in an economic blackout. Yeah. But for Mackenzie's sake, it's when we choose to limit our purchasing to make a statement.
Right.
And this primarily African American culture of being able to have. Let me just share a couple of the things that's on this particular thing. Is just saying that it's this one is the Al Sharpton's DEI boycott plan, and basically saying 24 hours of not actually purchasing things if you're African American, and basically do not purchase. And I'm not gonna go through the whole thing, but no Amazon, no Walmart, no Best Buy, no McDonald's, no gas, no major retailers, different things, just limiting, almost like fasting from purchasing. That's what it stood out to me as. And not because you're trying to be some defiant individual, but because if your culture is calling for something to say, hey, we spend a lot of money in this world, and this is what we're going to do for this particular day, and let's do it. Let's comply as much as possible. What are your thoughts on it? Anybody else in the audience?
I know for me, when I don't know how many people on here are familiar with Dr. Boyce Watkins. He speaks a lot about the economic power of Black people and how when we spend money, we're like trillions of dollars to the economy. So that's the thing that we're trying to get people to understand. Our money goes a long way.
That's right.
The only issue that we have as, Black and brown people is that we don't keep it in our circle. Everybody else knows how to do that. We spend it everywhere.
Well,
Whereas,
yeah. Okay.
what are you gonna say?
No, I was just gonna say, and I believe, because I like to be fair balance. I love supporting all types of businesses. Period. So I'm complying for today based on my culture and my nationality, saying, hey, let's stand together, united as one type of thing. But I like business things I like products and services from all different types of businesses, because we should be transparent on this show too, not just saying just any old thing, Yeah,
no, it's not about the buying Black. It's not what I'm going with this. It was that I was saying what we tend to do is as soon as we have a problem with a Black product, we're like, well, we ain't dealing with y'all no more. But if we'll have a problem with somebody else, if McDonald's get your food wrong 12 times a day, you still gonna go back on the 13th. You know what I mean? Like, but this one time with this Black company, you're like, nah, I ain't never going back there. I had a bad experience. It was terrible. And that's the thing that he was trying to point out. But at the same sense, when it comes to the economic side of it, we have true power. We just don't know it.
Interesting. And but times like this allows us to show that we do have, according to the Black Buying Power in 2025 and blackwallstreet.org, and you all can always look these statistics up as well, that it says 1.98 trillion Black buying power in 2025 is what's expected here. So, and
almost
at the end of 2024 was 1.8 trillion.
Almost $2 trillion. Do you understand how much money that is?
Right.
It's crazy.
So we want to know that, we want the world to know that our money and our contribution to society, it really does make a difference.
Yeah.
And so we shouldn't just be dismissed or wiped out, and no, we're not going to consider DEI opportunities anymore and different things, because that's important that we be considered in all different walks of life. So anybody else have any thoughts on this as well?
Can you hear me? It looked like I froze.
Now we can.
Okay. Yeah. And so for me, what I want to say about it is that, one, we want all allies. And so regardless of other people's race or culture or anyone who's in support of this, because the dollars really do count. And then the other part of it too, because I do follow Boris Watkins as well as others. And as some of you may know, I am a financial liberation. I'm all for financial liberation. And so it's not just the money that we spend, but what are we learning about money and what are we doing? Because of the fact we can participate in this boycott. And my thing had been like, once I really started listening, but it's also, okay, well, how are we going to support the individuals and families who are affected by this boycott? How are we going to support that? What infrastructure are we putting together in order to say, hey, we matter? Let's just say, like for individuals who work at Walmart and Target, because those have been the top two that people talk about. If, let's just say, yes, it makes a difference and their stocks go down, that's going to impact, the people who we're supporting or who we're talking about. It's going to impact their family. And so what do we have in place? What are we working on to say, hey, we got you, not just a big company, because this is a really big thing. It's not just the company in and of itself. It is all of our communities. So it's not really, and I'm not going to say not really, it's not only about to say, hey, these companies, you need to listen to us. But we also need to also say to the families, and because I think I saw a post where someone says, but they don't need to be working there. Okay, well, pay their bills. You know what I'm saying? But the other part of it is really to really look at the bigger picture of not just where we spend our money, but how can we save? How can we really get to a place where we can support ourselves, support our community, and support, let's just say if somebody needed $1,000, how many of us can say, hey, let's put $1,000 each so that we can do that? I can't even say that for myself. You know what I'm saying? And so again, when it comes to boycotting, not to only just look at what we can do now, but also look at what we can do in the future.
This is good. I'm glad you're saying that. And just so everybody understands that with this boycott that's happening, it's actually because there are major companies, and they name specific ones that I got this from NBC News is where I'm citing my source, just so y'all know. Major companies such as Walmart, Lowe's, Ford, and Toyota were among the first to actually dial back their DEI programs late last year, particularly after social media driven campaigns by different influencers were reported back. And then they also said that PepsiCo was one of the latest to also follow suit. So that's what some of the things are. And you can read all of these articles yourself. This is public knowledge that's out here as to what's driven this type of movement for people to say, we support these companies way too much with our dollars for any consideration of DEI to be diversity, equity, and inclusion to be not considered.
Did anybody else have something to say before I piggyback off what was just said?
Anybody? Natasha said we can't support none of y'all, whether you're black owned, white, Hispanic, Italian, doesn't matter. If you are American, according to over there in the Canadian.
Our economic blackout looks different on this side of the border today.
Right.
How do you feel about that? Because you are African American over there. Tell us your perspective.
I only learned right now that you guys were participating in economic blackout and that it was supporting Black businesses only. So the last time I did one like that was not too long after George Floyd. I recall that. But I'm fascinated to learn that you guys are in economic blackout today. And it's again, it shows the impact. These initiatives highlight that the people that are being treated a certain way have more impact than they're acting as if they do. But the dialing back the DEI it's not even that surprising because systemic racism works for a group of people. Why would they want things that interfere with the way it's working for them?
That's good. Very good thought. Okay, Kijuan, you had a thought as well. Please share.
One huge word that comes to mind is community. And what I was thinking about when the other young lady was speaking was that what we've gotten away from over the decades and decades of years since the civil rights movement and all the things of that nature was community. I was born and raised in Durham, North Carolina.
Okay. And
Durham has some history. For those who don't know, Malcolm X and Martin Luther King used to meet there.
Right.
And so there was a lot of things that were done there. Some things that I literally grew up right around that I did not know about until I went into a museum downtown in Durham. It's like a African American Black history type museum. This building was itty bitty, smaller than a house, but it had this timeline around the wall that you would walk around and see things and how Durham changed basically.
Right.
And so James E. Shepherd was a huge, person in Durham's history. And I can't remember the other guy's name right off the top of my head, but they were huge in just one little small area. in between Austin Avenue and Fayetteville Street. And in those two areas, you had a elementary school, you had a middle school, you had a high school, you had a college in North Carolina Central, you had uh, a hospital in Lincoln Memorial,
Mhm.
you had community in the Durham Hayti Heritage area. Like that's where you did all your shopping. All of this stuff was right here. One stop shop in between two streets. And that's the thing that we get away from, and we tend to gravitate towards, oh, I want to go here. Oh, I want to go there. I want to be outside and go all over the place. It's right here in your backyard, and you haven't even taken the time to give it a shot because you're now looking over things. We
That's
now
right.
got our nose up in the air and looking over stuff.
Mm.
You know, and I think about that every time because I used to actually perform at the Durham Hayti Heritage Center because I used to do acting before
Okay.
I joined the military, and so we used to actually perform there. And I was like, you know, this area is it's kind of run down, but they trying to bring it back. You know, Heritage Square, they're trying to revive it and everything. I was like,
Mhm.
it was kind of run down at one point, but okay, I see what they're doing over there. All right, I see
Right.
what they're doing over here. When you put money back into your community instead of taking it out, it'll look better.
That's right. That's right.
You know, so that's one of the big words that came to my mind was community.
Community. That's good. That's good. I'm glad. I wanted to make sure we put this up too, that the views expressed are our own personal views. They're not reflective always of the show or our church or Gabe's Heart Foundation or anything that I'm affiliated with, because a lot of times people will come back and say certain things. I want to make sure we make reference of that. Thank you so much, Mackenzie. And then I do want to take a moment just to tell you, I preached a message this past Sunday. I think it was this past Sunday. And we were talking about Black history and the contributions that African Americans have made in our society and how wonderful they are. Some of which things I didn't even know, like ice cream being invented by Augustus. I'm like,
Butter pecan.
Ice cream so much.
Butter pecan.
A vapor rub.
Right.
Yeah.
That was new to my knowledge of what has been invented by Black people.
Yeah.
There's a lot that's been invented, but one thing that I ministered about is that no matter who invented what, Black or any other nationality, guess what? We're one blood when it comes to our Lord and Savior. And that's what I ministered about. So if you missed that message, it's over on Promise Fellowship on our YouTube channel. Check it out, because we have to learn to be united as one. Without Blacks, without whites, without Hispanics, Asians, all of these different nationalities, the world would come to a screeching halt. No matter which entity you really try to isolate, we're one. And you know how you used to prick your finger back in the day and you would be like, we're blood brothers and blood sisters.
What is this, the wolf pack?
Yeah, this is from the projects. I'm from Sid Pack. We did that. I don't know about
what's the wolf pack here. What's going on here?
He said the wolf pack. But really, we are one. We are one. And the more we recognize that, the better life could be for everyone. So I just wanted to make that point as well. All right. I saw a lot of comments coming in. Pop some of them up, Mackenzie, and then we're going to go ahead and go to you, Natasha, with your talking points for today to kind of smooth some things out a little bit here. Good morning, Mr. H said. Good morning to you. Good morning. Hello, Lady Justine. Glad to have you. Good morning. Thank you for tuning in. Blackout History Month. Yes, yes. It's like when Rosa Parks and Dr. King had the bus boycott for civil rights for African American people. Fairness for all of us. Let you sit where you want to sit on the bus. If you get on the bus first, then grab a seat. And then if you get on second, you sit what's still available instead of having to tell somebody else to get up from their seat. So yes. Hiya, Natasha. Hiya. Okay. Hey, Judith. Polero, Natasha said, okay. The thing is, we have always supported them, but they don't always support us. All right. Interesting point. And that's a very well stated thing. If you know that you're always pouring your dollars everywhere, but then when it's time for somebody to support your Black-owned business, then and you're not getting that support, then you need to start reevaluating things and putting things in their proper perspective. Why don't you support me? I support you all the time. Sponsor my show sometimes too, because I support I have my insurance, my life insurance, my security system, my dollars are going to you all the time. And what are you doing with the people that I'm able to pull into your circle of knowing? I'm exposing you, but what are you doing financially to support me too? All right, go. Let's see. So where are we supposed to support to shop is what Mackenzie wants to know. Anybody?
Well, I don't know how you know, I mean, it gets kind of regional, but I know sometimes when I'm looking, like if I'm trying to support Christian businesses or Black businesses or female-owned businesses, a lot of times I learn that through Instagram and forums on Facebook, where then I can start to see who are the smaller businesses that represent niches that I'm trying to support. So maybe Mackenzie checking out some forums on Facebook or Instagram, looking at, you know, even because I mean nowadays just Google anything and then start to see if that helps you figure out people to support, because we don't live in an age where we expect to walk into a brick and mortar all the time.
That's
we
right.
can order things online, we can have things shipped, so our reach can be way beyond what's in our, you know, in our close physical proximity.
Yes. And so Mackenzie, you're an actual good example because you have your TikTok shop. And so there people can come and support a new mom, a mom that's overcome some you were paralyzed. So if people are looking to support a new mom that overcame some tremendous odds with 2 young children 4 and under, then they would look to support you. Now, obviously, you're not African American, so when we're talking about this African American blackout situation today or whatever, this is not what I'm referencing pertaining to you in that regard. But people looking for people in your scenario would Google things like that or see it on Instagram and social media and say, I want to pour into what she's doing. I believe in her. I want to see her succeed. Her limitations that have been happening because of society and things, medical diagnoses that's limited your life. Now people are looking to pour into you and to help. And speaking of pouring into, I know this is a way shameless plug. I might as well go ahead and say it right now. And I'm definitely going to take, I'm not going to miss my window. I'm not going to miss my window of opportunity. Okay. Listen, this black owned talk show, and I'm not even joking. I'm so serious. There are subscriptions, there are programs and things that are needed in order for us. Things cost like $100 a month to you just to be able to have certain platforms to come on and make sure that I get to bring this show into your house every weekday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I am bringing phenomenal guests right to the comfort of your home. You don't even have to leave your house to go to a studio audience to tune into the Kim Jacobs Show. And as a result of that, I would love for you to partner with us. And today, of all days, if you don't do anything else, definitely support the Kim Jacobs Show. Partner with us, give. And you can do that through PayPal, which is paypal.me/Kim Jacobs Inc. You type that in, paypal.me/Kim Jacobs Inc. And it gives you an opportunity to put any amount you choose. And no amount is too small and no amount is too large. Please be clear, because a lot of times people always say no amount is too small. How about some of you millionaires out there that are looking to undergird an African-American owned talk show host that you believe in? Venmo at the Kim Jacobs Show, and Zelle is 704-962-7161. You can also Apple Cash right to that same number, 704-962-7161. Anybody gonna pour into the Kim Jacobs Show today? I want to hear some comments, some emojis, some ding, 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 dings, or whatever.
Somebody
Okay.
put the bag up there.
All right. No, thank y'all for all that already support as well. Really appreciate it.
And also, Kim, along with that, one thing I want to say 2 things is that one, when it comes to the boycott, we're always looking at money in and of itself. And I wrote an article a couple of weeks ago on LinkedIn regarding boycott. And one aspect of it that we don't think about is what do we need to boycott from ourselves, within ourselves, so we can be the best versions of ourselves. Because sometimes it can be the way that we think, even the way that we're thinking about boycotting Sometimes we may need to look at certain aspect of it that we may not have considered before with that. And so that's one thing I want people to really think about. This is it's almost like the same thing as saying, what do I need to detox from within myself, within my thoughts and things? So it's really the same thing. And that is an ongoing thing. The other thing that I want to say, because you were talking about pouring into your business and like all of our business, but I want to say particularly with you, Kim, because you do so much for people. And one, this is Black History Month, and even though we need to be celebrating all the time, but this is a perfect leadway in which part of it, what I was going to mention or talk about today, is that ancestors in the making. And Kim, you are an ancestor in the making. All of us are, but as much as you do, not just for your family, but for the community, for this show. So this is another reason why we need to support Black individuals. When it comes to Black History Month, it's not about for those who have passed. Yes, they've paved the way, but we have people in our circle right now that we can go to for advice. And like when it comes to business, when it comes to family, Kim has all of that, and she is such a giving person. So one, I want to give you your flowers right now, Kim.
Girl, I couldn't pay you enough for what you're talking about over there. I had no idea. I'm like, everybody stop what you're doing. Okay. I had no idea you were going to say that. Seriously. Thank you.
But that is a part of Black history. Yes, we need to know our history, but in order to, like, when it comes to our future, it's like, who do I have in my circle now? Who's making history now? You know what I'm saying? Like, even though you talked about it on your show before, it's like you have a connection with Les Brown. Everyone knows who Les Brown is, but also he's an ancestor in the making as well. You know what I'm saying? And so let's not just celebrate for those in the past, but let's celebrate for those who are here now. It's like, the other thing is, Kim, I'm sorry, I'm kind of going on, but like with your Promise Fellowship, it's like, you put it like this, even though I've heard you talk before, but definitely with Promise Fellowship, even though I'm not always able to make it every Sunday, but I do listen to it, and the way that you preach and talk, it's like, oh yeah, it's like it hits my soul, So the thing is, we're talking about boycotting. So the thing is, where are you putting your money? So for all of you, if you listen one time, if you know somebody who spoke, like Kim said, no matter how much, even if it's $1, just think, for everyone who have listened, if one person donate just $1, how many followers do you have? Let's just say she has 10,000 followers. What is that? How would that support her? Because she pretty much is pouring into our soul. So this is how we, again, when we're boycotted, it's not just where you're not spending your money, but it's where you are putting your money. So put your money where you are, getting information from, whether it's a book, whether it's this show, whether it's a product, go ahead and pour it into those individuals. And if anything, put it like this, while certain industries, their dollars are decreasing, but we should definitely see an increase in the Kim Jacobs Show.
Girl, if I knew, I would have removed us all off the screen. I didn't know you were going. I didn't even put you on. You put the person like this, and you highlight them. I didn't do none of that because I wasn't prepared for this. Lord have mercy.
Like spotlight.
I didn't spotlight her. I didn't just. You don't know what God gonna do. What God done told you He's gonna do something today. He's gonna open up the windows of heaven and pour out blessings you couldn't receive, and I did not prepare for it. And here it was, right through Sharon D. Brown on the Kim Jacobs Show. Okay, y'all. Some more comments came in. Let's do that because Mackenzie, I see your communication. Lots of comments came in, so let's take a look at a few of them. Go ahead, pop them up. And somebody else read some of them, so it's not just me. Come on, Natasha, read some of them.
Okay, so it says that's an enormous amount of cash flow. I think this was in reference to what was said about the 1.9 trillion or
Okay.
1.8 trillion that needs to be translated into our community economically. Remember, food for us, by us. We are not consistent with where, what, and how we spend.
That's a great comment, Judith. These are some thought-provoking things. It's not just about Black people not supporting white people, stuff like that. That is a good statement. Go ahead.
Like Walmart, most of their great value is made in Canada.
Wow. So there you go. Canadian Freestyle Friday expert on the Kim Jacobs Show. You representing up there, right? Go ahead. Next comment.
We make those companies. How do we start to implement financial literacy in this world to create businesses? And that was
some good dialogue, Judith. I'd love to have you come on.
Judith's a church sister of mine.
Huh?
She's a church sister of mine.
You see how that's because you're a person of value, that you're connected to other valuable individuals. Excellent. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Go ahead. More comments.
The stoplight, the iron board, doorknob, hair iron, just a few things created by Black people.
Yep.
Yeah. So Judith hired me, a woman of God PR, to locate, promote our community businesses. I'm an exceptional networker, and all while researching to find out who, what, where, and what.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to say, Sharon, I totally agree with you, and I wanted to add to that idea, especially when Mackenzie was asking about, so where do we shop? Mm-hmm. It's not only we have ways to try to find those businesses, but we have to share the information once we find them too. Mm-hmm. Right? So tell people about excellent skin products, hair products, I don't know, like smoothies, whatever that is, whoever you're buying from, because sometimes we support the big companies out of convenience and lack of knowledge. And we can do the research and then continue to share the knowledge so that we know that there are other options. Because truth be told, I mean, we could be in the bathtub and shopping on Amazon. It's that convenience sometimes why we do it. But like, I know for different events that happen in my community, I go to a pop-up shop. I met this one girl and I have never stopped using her face product since. So no big brand is ever going to get my money again as long as she's making face products, because she makes such wonderful products.
That's good.
And I wasn't necessarily intentionally buying Black or intentionally doing this. I was buying what worked for me. And I support good business.
That's another one. That's a huge one right there.
I'm not going to support nonsense, inappropriate business. I'm going to support good business.
That's the point. It does. That's about the size of it, as my grandma said. You're supporting good business because it makes good sense, right, because they're providing you with good value. Absolutely. Period. Okay. Yeah. The helicopter. I see Paul E. Williams. A lot of time people, we hear about the Wright brothers, but do you know about the helicopter? You know what I'm saying? Ice cream, Augustus Jackson. What is this? The typewriter. I know the typewriter. I remember that being something. Okay. Who? Burridge and Marshman. Yeah, Burridge and Marshman. Ice cream. We talked about the ice cream. The folding chair. Purdy Sadwar. All of these are different inventions. Cellular phone. Henry Sampson. Did y'all know that?
Mm-hmm. I did.
I mean, I knew it because I just talked about it on Sunday. But before Sunday, I did not know it. So I'm glad. The doorknob. Dorsey. All kind of stuff. I mean, it's hundreds. It's hundreds of inventions.
So I got something for you. I don't know if you guys know about this, but y'all know. So since slaves back in the day could not read or write, do y'all know how they created maps?
Tell us.
So how they created maps to get to the north, and this was invented in Columbia, South Carolina. So shout outs to Columbia, South Carolina. Cornrows. So you know how you braid people's hair?
Yes.
Cornrows was how they made maps. So the different cornrows told you which direction to go according to street.
Oh wow!
So across the head, it told you what it drew the map across the head, and so that was how they navigated. All the tight, spirally little trinkets and everything they did. So, all these little styles of hair that we have, they actually meant something back in the day.
That is awesome. I did not know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, cornrows.
You know what that puts me in the mind of, which is kind of silly, unfortunately, but there are people that are using our ancestors' creations,
Yep.
but they're using it in a bad way in some regard.
Exactly.
And the reason I say that is because I had a scenario, and I'll keep it real brief, but where somebody pulled their hair, the same cornrows you're talking about, but they weren't using it for good. They were trying to use it to, inform you of something. Say, here, I just want you to know, and here's my evidence of whatever. And people just do bad things with good creations. So we just want to be mindful that don't use some good stuff in creating a roads for something that ends up being for negative, if that makes sense.
Yep.
All right, let's go to some points
right there.
Let's go to some points. Natasha, please. Now I'm putting you front and center. If I knew Sharon, we're gonna say all that about giving the money to the Kim Jacobs show, you'd have been front and center the whole show, girl. Go ahead.
Well, first, I just want to point out, I put something in the private chat. There's a link. There's a story. It's posted on LinkedIn. What if there were no Black people? And it outlines. It's a story of a child talking to their parent, and they go through the house and all the things that are missing because if there were no Black people, they wouldn't have been invented. So I put the link in there that you can share with the audience, because I use this every year with my students. I share this every year during Black History Month.
That's
yeah, I really like it. It points out a lot of the things we've invented, and it's not the exhaustive list, but it has a lot of awesome things. Okay. So we talking Black History Month, and I'm the mental health expert. So I thought, well, how can I correlate mental health and Black History Month?
Yes.
Well, we know that in Black History Month, we get to talk more about our contributions, and that validates our identity as people. And one of the things that we know systemic racism does is they try to tear down the positive light shone on us. And we need to reaffirm who we are and see ourselves from a better light. When I was thinking about it, it was so funny because I thought about that Christian song, "Whose report will you believe?" We shall be the report of the Lord.
That's true.
But it
you
was
said it in a comedian way, but I'm serious. I'm like serious.
It's serious. What as things are portrayed in media, it's reinforcing it outside of our community, but we could be ingesting that and receiving those negative messages of ourselves. So we should be talking about this stuff all year, but Black History Month is an opportunity to validate our positive identity and see how and reframe how we see ourselves, right? We need to recognize that systemic racism has a huge psychological toll. So we need to be safeguarding ourselves and how we do that. One, because whether we want to believe it or not, we're all in some way, shape, or form dealing with the fight of systemic racism. But for those who are actively involved, the weight that takes, the psychological impact. So what are your self-care practices? What's your mental health support to deal with that when you might be having somebody shut down what you're saying all the time, not going along with what you're fighting for to support your community? That's heavy. So we really need to make sure that we recognize that there's a psychological impact and we're taking steps to deal with it. When we celebrate Black History Month, we have an opportunity to promote mental health within our community. So we need to understand that part of who we are as people is not physically well people only, but we want to be mentally well people. So make that a part of how we celebrate Black History Month. Do you guys have Black Mental Health Day or Black Mental Health Week in the US?
I don't think I've heard of that, and I haven't heard that holiday at all. I mean, or that.
Okay, so in Canada, first it started that the first Monday, and maybe it's not Canada-wide. I know in Ontario, the province I live in, the first Monday after Black History Month was deemed Black Mental Health Day. Now it's Black Mental Health Week.
Yeah, so we have Black Mental Health Month, but
okay, when's that in the US?
In July is when.
Oh, see, I was told that was BIPOC Mental Health Month in Canada. So
yeah, BIPOC.
Yeah, so we have Black Mental Health Week in Canada the first week after Black History Month, but during Black History Month, we need to be promoting our mental health. Our representation matters. We need to see ourselves both in media portrayed in positive lights, but we also need to see, I remember somebody consulting with me about, you know, they had a diversity initiative for a large company here in Canada. And I went on their website and looked at their leadership team, and it was like a fresh fallen snow. It was all white. So I said to her, I said, well, as a Black person, how, if I can't see myself in that, I'm already maybe a bit more concerned. So representation matters. And this is why these people pulling back on DEI initiatives is concerning, because we need to know that we are in different places. It's easier to support systemic racism when all the people in the powers that make decisions, the decision-making positions, represent the system.
That's right.
So this the power, the people who make decisions need to be diverse. That's how we have a fair shot. When we are celebrating Black History Month, we often create more community, and it reduces isolation. And isolation is a major factor in people feeling sad, depressed, anxious, you name it. So it's a really good thing for our mental health to, and you already said, Kijuan, that we have to be a part of community, and we reinforce and strengthen our community when we celebrate our Black History Month. We need, you know, one of the things when we look at our history is the narratives of resilience. We are a resilient people. We've been through some things, and we've come out triumphant, and we've come out strong.
That's
and
right.
we need to, one, understand that resilience is not removing all emotion, but we need to be able to tap into our narrative as resilient people to continue to reinforce
That's good.
resilience. And the last thing is acknowledge and address the intergenerational trauma. The trauma that we've experienced as Black people goes beyond the generations. Because I know that my parents grew up in the Caribbean, and I know ways that they, you know, I was born and raised in Canada, so I've seen ways that what they've been through, they're trying to hold me back, and I'm like, no, I can do this. But because of the racism they've experienced,
Right.
there's a fear that they didn't know they were intentionally putting on me. Now, I didn't necessarily let that stop me, but it was that recognition of, sometimes we're afraid to do, we discourage people from doing because of what we've been through. There's other ways that we carry, because trauma it gets into our DNA, and we pass it down through generations. And so we want to recognize the impact of, you know, we are still affected by the fact that our ancestors were slaves. And we're succumbed to slavery. We're still impacted by things that happened in the 40s and the 30s and the 60s, and times we may not even have been alive, but we are impacted by that. So we want to be aware of that, because when we look at how we promote healing, if we're not aware of it, then we can't even address it to create that healing. So those are my points. I could have gone on for an eternity, but I said I'm going to try and keep it short and sweet. But I really just want people to think about those things, because Black History Month is an opportunity to promote mental health within our community.
Wow. I am so glad that you are our mental health expert. Put some emojis in the comment section. We have our own Canadian Natasha Halliday. She is a comedian. She is a joy, a beautiful soul, and so honored to have you here with us today. And you always bring some tremendous value to our program. So thank you.
That heat to Canada.
Yeah. We just had a few mild days, but I hear we're going to get another cold snap. So.
Yeah.
We're going to sandwich you up in there in the middle. Kijuan, go ahead and tell us some points you may have for today. Kijuan, Amey, he's blind, but guess what? He is our vision expert right here on the Kim Jacobs Show. So thank you for being here. Kijuan, take it away.
Oh, yeah, no problem. I appreciate you having me, Kim. Every time I come on here, I look forward to it. One thing that I was listening to Natasha as she was speaking about, and you know, the trauma and the intergenerational things such as that, you know, I just heard something the other day about how, you know, our ancestors, they fought for us to get to where we are now.
Yes.
But the generations now have no idea about that fight like they should, which means they're out here living Netflix, they're out here living YouTube, they're out here living all these things we fought to give them and let them have and use and all that. They don't know. They really don't know and understand that we fought for these things. We weren't able to use none of this stuff back in the day. Man, I wish somebody would have gave a slave a iPad or you know, said, oh, you know, you can use this iPad for school or whatever. Of iPhone, something, a device that you can communicate with anybody anywhere. Man, please. And
Unstoppable.
we just it's one of those things where we have to look back and be grateful
Mhm.
for where we are and not let this like this DEI initiative, these different things they're trying to change in the government and how oh, it just seems like they're trying to turn back the clock.
Mm. It's
And
not
we have
right.
to be careful first and foremost because I'm telling you, man, the way they're moving in the government is signs of some civil unrest. Okay,
That's right.
and it's not good because we've seen that before,
That's right.
and we know what that turns into. And I'm not even going to say it because I don't like putting things like that into the
Right. Me either.
atmosphere.
Me either. Right.
And so we understand though
Mhm.
that needs to slowly but surely come to a halt because it's not
Quickly.
going to be good at the end.
Right.
We were moving good in a great direction, and now it seems like they just want to be just like I don't even know what word to use right now. But anyway,
There
another
is no
thing,
word to use. That's the weird
right?
part.
You just get speechless because of you don't believe it. It's almost baffling
Mhm.
to say the least. Oh, and then one thing since I'm done with that, that's kind of one of the points I want to hit on. But another Black History thing I wanted to bring up. Since I'm a musician, um, I'm sure you guys are familiar with Louis Armstrong,
Yes.
and he could sing. We all know
Yes.
he's a beautiful singer. But did you know he was raised by a Russian household?
Oh,
Ah,
Did not know that. No.
didn't know
raised
that.
in a Russian household.
Hmm.
So his Russian family actually taught him a lot about music. They taught him Russian songs, but they never the key to it was they never made him only do Russian music.
Hmm.
They taught it to him. See, so many people like, and it could be you adopt a child. Okay, now you gotta learn everything we do in this household. I don't care
Right.
what you used to do. You gotta learn this. This is how we function. No, they said this is how we function. What else do you do?
Hmm.
And
That's
instead of conforming and making them do everything that they did, they were like, well, we're going to teach you some of the things that we do as well.
hmm.
And he ran with it. And that's, just why he was so great. If you ever have like seen videos of him, he's so graceful
Hmm.
with his delivery of music. And it's a beautiful thing, but I just had to, highlight that.
I put a picture of him up just so Louis Armstrong. I put him with this trombone. Is that a trombone? What is that?
Trumpet.
A trumpet. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's a good picture. He's passionate. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, that man knew what he was doing. He could sing, play, and everything. So he was very,
Multi-talent.
very, um, of course, cultural to us and a huge, pillar in
Hmm.
music for us. But yeah, there's just a couple things I wanted to mention.
That's good. That was good knowledge. I didn't even know that. So
Yeah.
you wonder why someone is so talented and
hmm
diverse because you can see the diversity in all of his performances, but you don't know what to really attribute that to. And so
Right.
that attributes back to some of his upbringing. Thank you so much for that
Oh,
knowledge.
I know what I
Oh,
mentioned.
go ahead. Go
Forgot to mention. You guys kept mentioning ice cream, and I
ahead.
forgot to mention. So, do you know why most Black people like butter pecan ice cream?
Why?
Because in slavery, they wouldn't let us eat the vanilla. They said that was for white people because it was pure. The only time we could eat it was in July. I think it was July 4th. I think that was the only time we could eat it. But so what we did was we took the vanilla ice cream, threw in butter, threw in pecans to give it just a little different texture
Hmm.
to make it so we could have vanilla ice cream.
Wow.
Look at that knowledge, Kijuan.
See. I'm that person. I like interesting facts. So
Yes,
yeah.
yes. I love that. Wow. Okay. People in the comments section, put any comments. Make sure you know too to stay connected with Kijuan Amey. You go to amymotivation.com. Tell them about your shirt. Pull your shirt up.
I like the shirt, baby. AmyMotivation.com. Let's get motivated, okay? Yes, sir.
Y'all make sure y'all go to Amey, AMEY motivation.com to stay connected with everything that Kijuan Amey is doing. Anything else that you wanted to say, Kijuan?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
All right. This is some good stuff. Let's see some of the comments that came in. Natasha, read some of the comments, if you will, when they come up.
So he's very knowledgeable.
Thank you.
I knew his parents were white. Oh, okay, she knew about Louis Armstrong. He's on point. Justine giving you all the flowers.
All right. Let's see. I do also want to take a second and share. I want to share my screen because, go ahead, read that right quick too.
So it says, I believe we should include other groups that have similar challenges without regard to color, ethnicity, anyone discriminated against or troubled, like widows, orphans, disabled, non-English speaking.
Disabled.
I agree with you, Mr. H. That's why on the Kim Jacobs show, you'll see our experts some are blind, some will have disabilities or different abilities, I call it, because I don't believe that just because somebody has something that's different than me makes something wrong with them. Right. I believe in all of us celebrating our differences. So thank you so much for that comment. I truly appreciate it. And then, like I said, backstage, I have a young lady that's working who overcame being paralyzed, and a young mother, young wife of 2 children, 4 and under. So lots of diversity here with the Kim Jacobs show. The common ground of struggle could bring lots of more people, groups into connection and businesses together. Thank you for those very heartfelt comments, Mr. H. All right, let's see. And I do want to pull this up before we go to you, Sharon, because this is Kijuan Amey's site. And I wanted to go here because he wrote a book called Don't Focus on Why Me. And in that particular book, that was the day that his accident happened. So you want to get that book. If you did not get it yet, ameymotivation.com. You want to read his riveting story of how his sight was taken on that day.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's what I pulled it up for y'all to see that picture. And also, this is his homepage, Amey Motivation, motivational speaker. He has a story that if you don't know about it, you need to know about it. And he's talked about it many times here on the Kim Jacobs show. So make sure that you just search the Kim Jacobs show, and you're going to hear his story a lot. Okay. All right, Sharon, let's hear from you before we close out here.
Yeah, the main thing that I really just want to say and point on is really, again, we were talking about boycotting, we were talking about Black history, is really take the time to pause and reflect. And when we take that time to pause, because the other thing is our emotions, are there, it get riveted up, and it could cause a lot of emotions, in which, it should, and that's okay. But at the same time, we don't want our emotions, put like this, we can use our emotion to fire us up, but not to allow it to make decisions for us. That's right. And so when we take the pause, it pretty much allows your body to calm down, because y'all know I'm all about self-care. Mm-hmm. Because the other thing is, especially as we as Blacks, is that when it comes to stress and when it comes to systemic racism, it impacts our health. That's just right. Because of the stress that goes on into the world, that's wear and tear on our body, on our mind, and our soul. So that is another reason, I would say more so than others, why it's important for us to take care of ourselves, to take care of, look at what we're eating, how when I say doing business, just meaning how we carry ourselves. Because even though we can have that fire, but if that fire is too much for our body, then this is when you get the high blood pressure, the heart attacks, the strokes, and all of that. And so we cannot let them win. The dollars count, but also make sure you invest in yourself. And again, pause so that you can reflect, so that you can think about the decisions that you're making, of where you're going to spend your money, where you're going to spend your time. And the other thing I want to say too, and I was talking about we all, for those of us who are a person of color, for those of us who are Black, we are ancestors in the making. And so when it comes to pause and reflect about what you are doing and where you want to go. Because the other thing is, sometimes when we're looking back at our own past, and especially like for those of us, most of us have probably had at least one job or two that we're like, oh, I'm so glad I'm out of there.
Right.
But it's really good to be able to pause and reflect and look at those old jobs, relationships, business, partnership, collaborations, because of the fact there are things that we can really use now and we can use in the future. And one way you can do that is I have like a 21-day journey, unleashing your potential through the joy of building through your job. Because a lot of times, put it like this, and being an entrepreneur and being an ancestor in the making, it's not easy.
That's
And
right.
so sometimes we need to reflect so that we can remember what we have done. And then also, there may be certain skills we may have picked up
That's right.
regarding certain experiences. And so you don't want to forget like who you are. And the way to do that is
That's right.
to pause and reflect, because we want to keep that, blood pressure down so that you can truly show up and have clarity in the things that you want to do. And so you can definitely follow me on social media. I would say the main thing is on Instagram as I am Sharon D. Brown. And then also, if you want to see like the services that I offer, you can still go to Instagram. But if you want to go directly to my website, that is selfcareuacademy.com. And that's YOU, selfcareuacademy.com, so that you can find out of all the different on-demand courses and workshops and events that I have going on, so that you can pause and reflect.
Yes, yes. So you can pause and reflect, you guys. We have so much knowledge that's been shared here on the Kim Jacobs Show today. I want to put your contact information back up to Natasha. Tell everybody how they can stay connected with you.
So on socials, I'm at Natasha A. Halliday, and my website's natashahalliday.com.
Beautiful, beautiful. And Lady Justine Hillier said that she grew up in Brooklyn, New York, attended Catholic school, and we were taught to celebrate all nationalities and races. And believe it or not, I don't know a lot of Black people that I personally know that are not taught that. Most of the people I know, we all support everybody. So we just also want to be supported. So
Right.
how about that? Let's just make it reciprocal. And then I do need to take a moment and just acknowledge that one of our Freestyle Friday experts was not able to be here today. I really hope I can play this. She sent in a quick clip, and I have tried my best to figure out here. Freestyle Friday. Let's see. Let's see if we can get this. Can y'all see that with Athena on the screen?
No.
No.
Oh,
is that her? Y'all see her?
I see the link now. If you click the link and open it.
Okay, hold on. Let me stop sharing for a second, and I'm gonna reshare. Give me one more second, because she took the time and we tried our best to figure this out, and I don't want to miss the opportunity to have her. I cannot get the. Give me 1 second, and I'm gifted at this stuff here, but I cannot figure this out.
I gotta run.
You go ahead and you have a great day, and
Yes,
I'm going to stay on until I get this to play, which it should be in a second here. Okay, there it is. All right. And y'all have a great day. Anybody that needs to get off, go ahead. It is Freestyle Friday. We are ending at noon, and you can stay on or you can get off, but I'm going to make sure I play this with Athena right here. Yep, there we go. All right, here we go. Let me put Athena up here. Can you all see this yet? There we go, right there. Can you see that? All right, now I'm going to hit the play, and we're going to hear from our final Freestyle Friday expert.
Good morning. Happy Friday. This is the Sunshine Expert on the Kim Jacob Show. First, thank you, Kim, for always allowing me to be on a beautiful platform with you and other experts to share all the good words, encouraging words, to bring joy to those all over the world. As we celebrate Black History Month, we know that today is the last day of February, but Black History Month still continues. It doesn't end today. We understand that we're given a month of February, but you can still continue, and always be willing to grow and to learn and to be knowledgeable of everything that goes on in our culture. And celebrating this month, I thought about music. Everyone loves music. Music kind of brings you to center focus. It gives you calming, relaxing, peaceful state of mind. I grew up on all genres of music, and there's so many legends and so many talented artists in the Black culture to celebrate. I can think about the music I grew up on, even now to the present day, whether it's gospel, rap, hip hop, R&B, blues, jazz, and the list goes on. So I would encourage you all to continue to learn, keep an open mind, always do your research, as well as the Bible says, study thyself to show thyself approved. The same is with learning different things about different artists or anything that you want to learn in the world. Always do your research. Always keep an open mind to learn. So today I bring you keep dreaming, keep pursuing your dreams, keep your goals and your visions in the front of you, and keep pursuing. So don't ever stop believing in yourself. And always be willing again to learn, be knowledgeable, and then share whatever you learn. Be willing to share it with others because others might not know. So that's where you come in to shed some light and to share. So on this good, awesome, fabulous Friday, we finish strong. We're going to continue to thrive and always celebrate you, celebrate your victories, small and big. This is coming from your Freestyle Friday expert. Have an amazing day and an awesome weekend. Bye for now. Good morning. Happy Friday. This
All right, all right. That was definitely worth wait, let me see. I'm gonna stop the sharing. Hold on. All right, that was definitely worth us make making sure that we get a chance to hear from our Freestyle Friday expert. Yeah, there we go. Okay, that we got a chance to hear from our Freestyle Friday expert, Athena Robertson. You can stay connected with her by contacting her at 980-200-5740, or you can go to @redhoney, which is REDHONII on Instagram. And she is an express notary. So if you're in the Charlotte or surrounding areas, she will come to you. All right. Any closing comments, Sharon D. Brown?
Pretty much, I just want to remind people to pause and reflect and take action.
Pause, reflect, and take action. You contributed to the Kim Jacobs Show. Thank you so much. And for those of you that have not, so I said, hey, did you all contribute? Make sure that if you have not contributed, that you take a moment to do so. I'll put it over in the comment sections for you. And thank you all for being in the studio audience today. I think that your participation was just amazing. And I do want us to keep in mind, because this woman said, please don't let me get buried and my story gets buried with me. This woman is the final person that I want to talk about in the Tulsa, Oklahoma massacre in 1921. And you can read the whole article. It's right on CNN, and I'll put that in the comment section for you. But basically, the reparations are overdue for these individuals, and these are the last two surviving individuals that survived the massacre, and that is Miss Viola Fletcher and Miss Leslie Benefield Randall. So I want to make sure that you all take a moment and learn more about the Tulsa mass. It makes me just tears me up, actually, because I read the story in detail, and to know that over 3,000 people in a community, self-sufficient, were doing everything they could to have their own doctor's offices, gas stations, beauty supplies. They had built this community, and in that community, they were thriving. And because of an incident that is outlined you can go back and read it. I don't want to take too much time and go through everything, but it all started with a situation on May 30th, 1921, when Dick Rowland, a 19-year-old black shoe shiner, ran from an elevator, and it goes it's the whole story of what happened. Ultimately, gasoline was poured from the sky to wipe out this entire community, this entire Black community. So please, you guys, the Tulsa Race Massacre is something I do want y'all to learn more about, and know that things have been still stuck in court. But these people that are the two survivors, I pray to God that they get everything that their family and their offsprings are entitled to. All right, that is today's episode on the Kim Jacobs Show. I love you all. Thank you, Sharon D. Brown. Thank you to our Freestyle Friday experts that were on today. And thank you in the studio audience. Have a great day. Thank you, Mackenzie, Cassandra, my team. Love you all. Have a great rest of your weekend. See you Monday, 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the Kim Jacobs Show. Love you all. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the Kim Jacobs Show, and for being in the virtual studio audience. Your presence truly does make a difference, and I look forward to you bringing your friends and family to join you in the virtual studio audience Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I look forward to seeing you, and make it a great day.